The invisible wealth trap, why you're feeling broke on a good salary. The 100K illusion? Imagine this. You finally hit that magical milestone, a six-figure salary. You got the promotion, the corporate title, and the direct deposit that looks like a phone number. By all traditional rules of personal finance, you should be thriving. You should be buying the house, taking the vacations, and watching your investment portfolio grow effortlessly. But instead you feel stuck. Every month, the money comes in, and every month, it vanishes. You look at your bank account and wonder, where did it all go? You aren't buying sports cars or flying private, yet you're still checking your balance before dining out. Welcome to the 100K illusion. In the United States today, earning $100,000 a year is no longer the ticket to the effortless middle class it was 20 or even 10 years ago. According to recent economic data, nearly 60% of Americans living in major metropolitan areas earning six figures report living paycheck to paycheck. We are taught how to work for money, but we are rarely taught how money actually works under the hood of a modern economy. This creates a psychological trap. When you earn more, you assume your financial problems will automatically solve themselves. But they don't. Without a fundamental shift in strategy, more income simply means bigger bills. We are going to break down the exact forces that are keeping you financially stagnant, dissect the math behind your paycheck, and map out a precise, actionable framework to break the cycle and build actual permanent wealth. The real anatomy of your paycheck. To fix the leak, we first have to find it. Let's look at the math that nobody warns you about when you sign that new employment contract. When you agree to a $100,000 annual salary, that number is a fiction. It is a gross figure before the modern economic machinery takes its cut. Let's strip away the layers to see what you actually take home. 1. The tax bite. First comes Uncle Sam. Between federal income tax, state income tax, FICA, Social Security, and Medicare, your gross income takes an immediate hit. If you live in a high-tax state like New York or California, your effective tax rate can easily hover around 25% to 30%. Suddenly, your $100,000 is down to roughly $72,000. 2. Deductions. Next, you subtract health insurance premiums, dental, vision, and perhaps a basic 401k contribution to catch your company match. After these standard deductions, your actual net take-home pay is closer to $5,500 a month. 3. The core 4 expenses. Now, let's look at the baseline cost of surviving in a modern US city. Housing. A standard decent 1 or 2 bedroom apartment in a major metropolitan area or a suburban hub averages anywhere from $1,800 to $2,500 a month. Transportation. Car payments, insurance, fuel, and maintenance easily consume another $600 to $800 a month. Student loans and consumer debt. The average college graduate carries roughly $300 to $500 a month in minimum student loan payments. Basic living logistics, groceries, utilities, phone bills, and internet consume another $600. Let's look at the balance sheet. Income/expense category. Monthly amount. Net take-home pay. $5,500. Housing, rent, mortgage. Minus $2,200. Transportation, car plus insurance. Minus $700. Student debt/minimum payments. Minus $400. Utilities and groceries, minus $600. Remaining balance, $1,600. You are left with $1,600. This is before you buy a single cup of coffee, go out for a friend's birthday, travel for the holidays, or put a single dollar into a brokerage account. One minor medical emergency or a major car repair wipes this out completely. This is why you feel broke. You aren't failing because you're lazy. You're failing because you're playing a game where the baseline costs are rigged against standard income earners. Lifestyle creep, the silent assassin. If structural costs are the foundation of the problem, lifestyle creep is the silent assassin that finishes the job. Lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation occurs when your standard of living increases right alongside your income. When you were a college student or an entry-level worker earning $40,000, you managed to survive. You shared apartments, ate cheap meals, and drove an old vehicle. But as your income rose to $70,000 and then to $100,000, your baseline shifted. You upgraded from a studio with roommates to a luxury building. You traded the reliable 10-year-old sedan for a financed crossover with a sleek infotainment system. Uber Eats replaced cooking. Subscription services quietly stacked up on your credit card statement. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. Human beings adapt to new levels of comfort incredibly fast. What used to be a luxury quickly becomes a necessity. Once you get used to flying premium economy, standard economy feels like a punishment. Once you get used to the premium gym membership, the local recreation center feels unacceptable. The danger of the hedonic treadmill is that it leaves your savings rate exactly at zero, regardless of how much money you make. If you earn $50,000 and spend $50,000, you are broke. If you earn $250,000 and spend $250,000, you are still broke. You just have nicer things in your garage. True wealth is not determined by how much you make. It is determined by the gap between what you make and what you spend. That gap is your leverage. The wealth architecture, rewriting the rules. To break out of this cycle, we must abandon traditional budgeting. Traditional budgets don't work because they focus on deprivation. They tell you to cut out the $5 latte, which makes you feel miserable while doing absolutely nothing to solve your $2,200 housing problem. Instead, we need to implement a modern financial architecture designed for automation and high-velocity wealth building.